now, but we got the results back for the AP tests that our students take. And this year, our AP calculus kids, 29 kids took the test, 28 got credit for college for calculus, which is that's taught by Will Ramsey, who, if you don't know who he is, he's done a fantastic job. AP statistics was 81%, AP environmental science was 88%. So we had, there's some other areas that were high. I didn't print the whole sheet off. Those are amazing scores. So it's really, our kids are fortunate they've got teachers like that that come in and prep them. And parents like it too, because it saves them a little money when they go to college.
This will bring us up to our first public comment portion of the meetings and agenda items only. If you wish to say anything, please come to the podium and state your name. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. Okay, moving on. Any revisions to the agenda? The agenda.
Motion to approve agenda.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Scheduled reports. Nikki, is she here?
She is not, and she just included pools with the other reports next.
Oh.
She's got information.
Okay. All right, let's move on to discussion items. We have the 2019-20 district calendar, just in your board packet. Everybody's got any questions? The big thing in the list is we're going back to 9-week marking periods, which helps some students that tend to get behind, so they have a chance to catch back up.
Yeah, in addition to the kids, the students that fall behind because they get off to a slow start, school starts in September and they don't get started until October, it hurts those students. It's harder to make up that ground. But then the other thing that does is we give comments. The math department wants to reinstate common assessments. I'd like to see those reinstated across the different core areas. Common assessments just mean that if Mike and I both teach biology, then at the end of the 9 weeks, our students get a test that we put together that matches up with the NGSS standards, and all of the students take the test, and then we use it to compare where his kids score high, where they score low, where mine may score high, may score low. We work together to try and bring all those scores up for students. It's a constructive thing. It's not used for evaluations or anything of the sort. Just trying to have a quality control tool.
Makes sense. Yeah.
It's not. We did it here for a long time. It's just something that was devised. Oh God, I was still teaching so in 2002, 2003, right in that time frame, and you learn a lot in the first year or two when you do that. It's beneficial.
Is that something that goes on as long as you keep records forever? Right?
Well, we don't keep
We
those.
just use them from year to year.
Yeah, we didn't keep the actual tests. We just use them as teachers. Like my counterpart was Denise Aiken, who was passed away recently. But her kids would be stronger in some areas, mine would be stronger in others. We take a look at how we taught those units and compare, and we share notes and try and bring each other's scores up.
Right,
It's
good.
not us competing head to head; it's getting our students
Right,
better.
it's the best for the students. Sure.
Greg, on the subject of calendar, we're coming up on a month to go or so until we expect us to do open houses for the individual schools. Do we have dates on those yet, or?
They were emailed out today to the administrative team. It's pretty similar to last year's calendar. You had to flip the dates a little bit. Not everybody's responded yet. Some of the people, one guy's out west for sure. Can't account for where they're all at. They're on vacation.
Well in progress,
I think there's 2 of them here. They responded today.
Or-
Actually, Jacob is the one that actually sent the thing out, so that's glad he did that.
All right, building handbooks.
Oh, I'm sorry, the building handbooks there, right now, the discipline code's being reviewed by Truman and Jacob and Griff and Tricia as well have been writing a policy for cell phones in school and just tying up the odds and ends and waiting for Truman to tell us what's legal and what's not. Or just really, it's the same code we've had for years, but it hasn't been reviewed. Just have to take a look at it in case there's any changes.
And what are you looking at as far as the cell phone usage?
In the school,
Yeah.
not in the classroom. Not unless there's some special reason why a teacher would say bring in that device because we're doing research. But, I mean, first
They're going to be expected to be in their locker.
in their locker,
Yeah.
and then they don't have to be turned off, but on silent. So if they're not going off in the lockers while it's shut. You check it at lunch, obviously, I think is what Jake and you can speak to that better because you guys can bring that down if you'd like.
Yeah, we were still working on some details, but we were talking about potentially passing time, lunchtime, before, after school, those type of things. Some teachers do still want the possibility of bringing them in, like the art teacher with photography, they'll go outside and
Right.
phones the camera for a lot of
Oh,
people.
sure.
So, different activity or different labs, we might have QR codes or something, you need to scan them, and so they'll let kids know ahead of time when they can kind of bring them in. But we're pulling from a lot of different handbooks from around the area, so we're trying to pull together what works for us the best with it, but, so that's what, we'll let the other admins know and kind of, piece together. We'd like it to be a district probably policy, so that way it's not different per building.
More teachers versus students.
What's that?
Teachers, are their cell phones banned too?
Not really.
I'm not gonna comment on that.
Sometimes I agree with you about this.
And so we expect the handbooks next meeting, correct?
I think we got the 29th, I think, and that'll depend on if Drew gets it back. I emailed him a week ago. That was last Wednesday
Okay.
when I sent it to him. No, it was Tuesday, so it's almost a week now, and I haven't heard anything.
You said you're revamping or just reviewing the discipline?
It's just reviewing, it's the same code that's been in there.
Okay.
It's just make sure that I talked to Griff Bills, he didn't think it had been reviewed for a while by Truman. We have a different attorney now with Truman. So it'd be a good idea to have him just take a look and make sure he agrees with his counterpart, who used to do it, Lisa Swam, and she was always airtight, and we had it with her, but I mean, it's a different person, so I'll have him take a look at it.
All right, moving on to 2019-20 athletic ticket prices and athletic participation. Back here.
No changes.
Is that comparable with what other schools do?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the ticket prices, some of the Washtenaw County schools are a little higher.
Yeah.
Everything's more expensive over
Right.
there. And we're not, our counterparts in the county don't have pay to play. Blissfield has it, it's pretty small, but either Clinton or Adrian have it. Celine has a real high pay to play. And at this time, I think it'd be a good thing to raise for us.
Yeah, I can say from experience, because 14 grandkids, I have an opportunity to go to a lot of different school events in different districts, and this is pretty close. The one that varies is senior citizens. Some people, senior citizens are free, other way, $2.
All right, 2018-20 food prices, lunches and milk.
No change there either.
Is that regulated? Or we get to set that?
It's subsidized. Now, whether it's regulated or not, that I don't know. It's set by whoever accepts our bid. But I know there's subsidy, they get the federal subsidy for that. But that applies mainly just to Class A lunch, that's for free and reduced people. I don't know on the à la carte, I don't think there's any subsidies there. It's just for the Class A hot lunch. sure they're probably the same as they were when I went to school, except we didn't have styrofoam trays, they were hard plastic.
Any other questions on that?
Is it any good?
The food?
Yeah.
You know, I never had
You
it.
had it?
They got little Granny Smith apples that are about the size of a ping pong ball, I swear, but I never, but as far as the food, I mean, kids eat it, I just never eat one like it. I honestly say that. I mean, a lot of it gets thrown away, but they'll go out and buy French fries. At least when I was still working in the cafeteria 5 years ago, they'll go out and buy French fries and stuff, eat half of it.
Yeah. Just curious.
But I had to go pick it out of the dumpster to see if it was bad.
No. Well, yeah.
All right, 2019, 2020 facility use fee schedule.
It's the same schedule we've used since I was athletic director. There's no changes there. You know, priority would go to, the fee is less for school groups than it is for people who are coming in to make a profit, like, outside resource, for instance, that wants to come in, host basketball. We're doing that. That's one fee. If it's somebody else who wants to use our gym and make money on it, we charge them more money. They have different classes attached to them, like class 1, 2, 3, 4.
We probably don't rent our gym out too much, gyms out too much, so do we?
You know, I
Use
don't
them most of the
know,
time.
been here, we do.
Oh, yeah.
It's a rubber making to an extent.
Somewhat.
It's not huge.
Seems like we'd be using them most of the time. Different sports.
We didn't when I was AD, but that's just because it was pretty hard to rent it out, because usually, other than Sundays, it's pretty close.
Right. I remember practicing down, so we were like a gym down in here, you know, with the baseball team years ago. Okay.
And then review the 2019-20 board meeting schedule. Which you have in your packet here. And so,
What has this changed? What is that?
Would not be the fourth, it would not be the fourth, Monday.
It's just obviously
It's obviously
from
plans. For instance, the next meeting would be next Monday, so we would get,
We appreciate that.
we're gonna have a lot of them. Okay.
Number 21.
So that,
Is that meeting on the 29th, is that-
Thursday is 21. So meeting 22.
I'm gonna provide that to MASC as well, so they know.
Great. It looks like 2 of our dates match up with 2 of the anyway, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, both Mondays.
Should we try to hit school supplies instead of expense? Looks like we have enough room there.
I think that's a lot of work for them.
Twice a year.
then we start into the end of the year, we have summertime, there's no school in, pretty tight. But we may have hit each school twice.
As much as I like visiting them, I think we have better acoustics in here, don't we?
Yeah.
That was kind of a problem with a couple of the schools, so.
And lighting and space.
It's just good, that at least once a year, we can have to tell us about that.
Well, that's nice to see. Obviously, all the stuff.
Well, do we want to make maybe the 29th, we can change that to 30th?
So we can just be here all day.
Why?
So not here for 2 days, because on July 30th, we'll have a meeting with the MASC.
It's saying it's a 3-hour workshop at 6 o'clock.
6 and 9.
Or we just cancel it. There's not going to be much to approve with that.
Let's just see when we get closer.
It's 2
2
weeks.
weeks.
A lot to happen in 2 weeks. You guys live here?
What's on our agenda for the next one?
Yeah.
That would be a short meeting. We just don't want to see us again.
too. Yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine too.
Like I said, you guys must have been fine, like, you know,
Okay, so we'll make it at July 30th at 5:30.
So this is gonna be on a Tuesday.
Yep. Okay, and then we have,
Tuesday, 30th at 5.
5:30.
Okay.
And then we have the renewed SAB membership, it's 5438, $5,438 next year. We also have school equity caucus membership. Do you want to explain everybody else what that is?
School equity sends a monthly update to the superintendent just of things happening at the legislative level and around the state. It's pretty useful just to stay current, based on the fees, based on enrollment.
So that is $1,000 for next year. We got to renew HSAA, that is free. Be part of that. And then authorization to participate in national school lunch and special meal programs. Alright, so, if I can move on to action items. And I get a motion to approve the 2019-20 district calendar.
I move that we approve the district calendar.
Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Right?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any motion to approve the 2019-20 athletic ticket purchases.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And then get a motion for the 2019-20 food choices, lunches, and milk.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? 2019-20 facility use fee schedule. Motion?
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Approval of annual appointments.
Bear with me. Approval of legal firms, the board needs to designate its legal firm that the district will work with for the 2019-20 school year. Truman Law Firm in cooperative agreement with LISD to work with Kyle Pop. Can I get a motion to approve that appointment?
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Designation of depositories for 2019-2020 school funds. The board needs to designate its banking sources. TPS typically uses the following banks for depositories: Old National Bank, First Federal Bank, MILAF, TLC Community Credit Union, and Key Bank. I get a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Check signature authorization. Can I get a motion to approve the superintendent as an alternate on all district accounts?
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Terry, who's the current primary signer?
It's finance office.
I'm sorry?
It's the finance director.
Okay.
So Nikki?
on transfers of investments and withdrawals. We need to designate and authorize the superintendent and/or the board of business, the director of business and finance services, which is Nikki. Okay. To make investments of available monies from the several funds of the district and transfer monies as needed. Can I get a motion to designate Nikki and authorize the superintendent as an alternative?
So moved.
Support. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Designation of chief election officer for the district. We need to designate and appoint the board's elected secretary or designee to serve as the chief election officer for the Tecumseh Public School District. So that would be Kevin. It's Kevin. Terry's saying Kevin.
Kevin is the board secretary, and he can designate. So, yes, it would be a question, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, the board's elected.
So, it's designated. So Kevin is our chief election officer. Can I get a motion?
Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. Authorizing designees to receive and canvass nominating petitions for annual school election. The board needs to designate and appoint the board's elected secretary or designee as the board's designee to receive and officially canvass the nominating petitions for school board candidates in the annual school election. So that's still Kevin. Can I get a motion?
I make the motion for Kevin.
Support. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Designation of persons to post legal notice pursuant to Open Meetings Act. The board needs to designate and appoint the board's elected secretary, the superintendent, or his or her designee to serve as the board's designee for posting legal notices pursuant to the Open Meetings Act. And that gets us right
Now-
to Terry.
That's you, right? I make the motion. It's Terry Hayes.
Okay. Support?
Support.
Any discussion?
Do we have a chain of command on this? Like, do we have a policy for this?
For posting?
Posting. So if you're not here, who does that fall to?
The superintendent can
Okay.
say who can do that.
We have been using Carly Wright for a lot of that stuff, so if she's not, if Terry's not available, Carly can do that.
Okay. I just want to make sure we,
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Designation of district coordinator for the Title VI of Civil Rights Act of 1964, Title 11 of Education Amendment 1972, Section 504 of Rehabilitation Act of 1973, Age Discrimination Act of 1975, Title II of Americans with Disability Act of 1990, and McKinney-Vento Homeless Children's Act. The board needs to designate and appoint the superintendent and/or his designee as a designated person for the district to oversee the responsibilities of the above referenced acts. Do you have a designee? That's going to be Terry, okay. Can I get a motion to have Terry be that designee?
So moved.
Any support?
Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Next, we have the designation of coordinator for Michigan Public Act 25 of 1990. The board needs to designate and authorize the superintendent or his/her designee to serve as the district's designated coordinator of Michigan's Public Act 25 of 1990 requirements. Is that also you?
School improvement, that's what that act covers, school improvement.
Okay.
Related things, so.
So who is the designee of that? Okay. So that would be Greg.
And the
Superintendent.
I'm getting
Superintendent.
hurried fast.
I'll make a motion that it's superintendent's responsibility.
Can I get a second?
A second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
That is it.
Did we hit line item 4, depositing of school funds?
So far, we did not.
Okay. We did not?
We did not.
I didn't think we did.
Which one? Good catch.
Line item 4, depositing of school funds.
Depositing of school funds. Move to authorize the
Oh,
superintendent
yeah.
and/or the director of business for financial services or his or her designee to deposit school funds into established depositories. And that is currently Nikki, correct? No, this is a different one.
This is-
That was for check
Okay.
signing. This is for actual deposits.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought the same. So can I get a motion to have Nikki be the designee for established depositories, depositing school funds in established depositories?
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Any motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
With the change date.
Yes.
Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Superintendent's report, Mr. Lewis?
Well, I mean, it's not a busy time of year, I guess, because students are here, but we have filled, or tentatively filled, all the high school positions now. I met with two candidates, actually by Zoom, met with two science teaching candidates today. Mrs. Keeler gets back tomorrow, she'll extend offers to both of them. If they accept and we're filled, we have special education interviews on Wednesday to fill positions one is at, the STEAM building, and one is for a 2-3 position at Compass. And I don't know the status on those again, because Mrs. Keeler wasn't here, so she was gonna set it up to the 17th. That would leave us with just one more to fill later on with upper elementary Compass. And we also have a 2nd, 4th, and 6th grade position to fill at Compass. I'm not sure of the days yet, but she's going to hire or interview for those. I want to say it was the first week in August, but without having my calendar. But I'm not sure she's even reached out to all those people yet. We kind of, as they came along, we kind of prioritized them. So far, I mean, I've been pretty happy with the people I've met with that we've hired. It's gone better than I had hoped. I mean, especially finding people to teach, science and special ed, we've actually generated some interest. Those are hard fills. We've been extremely lucky.
How many positions were open?
Yeah, I don't, well,
I'm just wondering how
actual
many got
hires were
filled.
probably 8 to 10, assuming that everybody stays put. I think there's always that possibility that some senior teachers will get closer to the start of the school year. Historically, somebody will decide, I just don't want to go back and put in their paperwork and retire in August.
So you think you got about halfway filled?
Oh, no, we're well over halfway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're well over halfway. It's just, and then, again, like special ed positions, it's hard to find special ed teachers. You can post the job, doesn't mean you get anybody that applies.
Right.
If that happens, then we'll do like what was done last year, where we build a long-term sub. It's not ideal, but, we think we've got some people we can bring in. It's pretty common, too, to have to go off the schedule for those positions, meaning you have to offer a little more money than what you normally would. And that's just because free enterprise system is hit public education. I mean, in areas where there's shortages, it's like dominoes. I mean, some district will come in and pluck your people because you have survey come over, hey, you're making 60,000, I'll pay you 75. Tough decision, but not, because nobody likes to leave their students, but it just boils down to economics. And And so when one district does it, another has to compete, another has to compete, because especially in high school, when you have people who can't fill positions that are certified in that can affect your accreditation with more central. So that's, it gets to be more of a big deal than it does, say, at the elementary or middle school. I mean, obviously, you always want to have people that are certified in the area they teach in, but high school is the one that can get you the fastest.
Right.
And special education because it's federal law.
That's just important to.
Yeah.
discuss.
But there, because of the shortage, I mean, there's been a lot of creativity on that as well over the last, and that's been going on for probably 5 to 10 years. I mean, just people don't know any of it. They used to, it used to be that a bunch of special ed teachers, you post a special ed job and you get 15 or 20 applicants. Now you post it and you hope you get enough to cover your positions. And it's been that way.
But Greg's senior, right? Is that his name?
Yes,
The gentleman
yes.
who hired him.
He's going to be teaching at the STEAM building. I don't remember if it's East or West. And he will coordinate the training for the instructional assistants. They can get trained on CPI training, which is nonviolent
Across the whole
restraints.
district?
Yeah,
Oh.
but he won't train them. The ISD will train them, but he'll make sure they get scheduled.
Right.
Also Medicaid billing for the IAs and for being one of the duties that I signed up. This is when you probably should open your mouth and say, these are the 3 things he's doing, you can only remember 2 of them. But they're written down, he signed it, and there are 3. Medicaid, training, the other one escapes me right now. So he's not evaluating those people, he's just, as a special ed, seasoned special ed teacher, he'll make sure those people get the training they need to function at their job. And the other thing with that position is, we can have somebody to start the year, and then they move on halfway through, and then you have to hire somebody else, and then they need the training. And the Lenawee ISD does that for us, it's no charge, it just has to be scheduled. I mean, it's not.
Do we still have teaching coaches, or
We do, we have 2, we have.
are they teachers?
Yes, Buffy Legore and Amanda Schmidt. Buffy will take K6 and Amanda 7-12. And in 6th grade science, I would expect that Amanda would probably, because that's her major, she would probably walk down the 5th or 6th grade too for science reasons.
I was just wondering if we had any lateral movement there, if we needed other teachers in certain spots. that we would-
Yeah, but they don't fill the bill as far as what
No.
we need. They're not special ed people or science. Well, that was a possibility, but we filled, as long as these 2 people get inked this week, and we'll have our 2 people. Bear in mind though, like I just said about the free enterprise system, you can ink somebody to a $36,000 VA step 1 contract, and if they find a district that pays 42,
Right.
they're moving somewhere anyway, so until I see the whites of their eyes in September, you know,
Yeah.
that's about all I have.
Well, and then you sent out the emails yesterday,
Friday,
Friday, okay, about the
Yeah.
different start times and.
yes, which we discussed when we talked about the budget cuts, because that was all part of the restructuring. So, there were 3, the biggest, the one that seems to cause the most concern was the split time at Compass. So, this year, 2nd through 6th grade, 5 grades, all of them started at 8:40, I believe it was. We changed that, and this is discussed with myself and all the entire administrative team, ways to reduce the congestion when parents drop off and pick up their kids, because you got probably approaching 1,100 students in there, right, Tricia, with 5 grades? So it's kind of like a road rally, and not that anybody's doing anything wrong, it's just a lot of vehicles coming in and out. And then what I didn't realize when I came back, because when I retired from here, I was the athletic director, 6th graders did not participate in MHSAA sports. A year after I retired, they changed that and said that they could. So our students in 6th grade weren't able to participate, at least not to any of the away contests, because they don't get out of school until 3:40. And the league, if this is still right, our league, the Southeastern Conference, starts all its contests at 4:30. So that was a hindrance. And I just, when I heard that the first time, I was like, well, yeah, but it's just, they're just there for, it was called exhibition before. A 6th grader could compete, but not for points. It was just like a for fun, like fun day for the elementary kids. But that got changed. And then the third reason is because it saved $43,600 to consolidate that bus run coming from Shannon Gotti and First Student Transportation. She worked the numbers for us and confirmed those. So that was part of the reason we could cut the amount of dollars we did without cutting a teaching position. So I mean, I think as an administrative group, like I said before, my colleagues, those aren't fun times when you're in there talking about, well, this person, because when you have somebody working, you cut, well, I can't, but they can. I know they got room to cut somewhere. And it just gets a little contentious because you don't want to give up anything for your building. And they were very good about it, and we hammered through these ideas, and it's the best we can come up with to help our students out. I know it causes some hardships for some people because now you've got kids in the same building, one can start at 7:40, the next one doesn't start until 8:40. But by the same token, some of the kids, that affects people that way. But then now, if you've got a fifth grader, they can start at 7:40 at Compass and 7:35 at STEAM. So it's a toss of the coin as to, some people it's going to benefit, some people it's going to affect. But for as long as I was a student or an employee here, which is going back to 1965, we've always had split schedules. So I mean, because we're just too big a district to have everybody on one calendar like the smaller schools do. We can't do one bus run. We can't start everybody at the same time. So that was the three reasons why we did that.
And then, about the changes in STEAM, 48 minutes and 410, if you can go into.
Oh, yeah,
detail
so the
about that.
STEAM buildings, when I took this job, I had a lot of unsolicited comments, and rightfully so, from parents who were either in love with the STEAM building, wanted to see things changed. By far, the biggest ones were people who were not happy, I guess, and then the response was from people who didn't want to change. So, tried to work out some type of compromise. I guess the definition of a compromise is you make a change that doesn't leave either side happy, but either side's absolutely disturbed by it either. And anyway, it's been married for a long time, you'll understand that. So that's what and I have, to one person too, so that's what we came up with the STEAM building. It seemed like a lot of the complaints I got was from parents where there was just not enough core instruction dedicated to those 4 discipline areas: English, math, science, and social studies. So that was put in. Now, it doesn't mean that every day everybody has to sit in there for 48 minutes. And I know, speaking to just about everybody up here at one time or another, they like the projects. I mean, if there's an application for that, let's do it. That's not news. I don't think there's anybody still in here. Well, Mrs. Gentry was here when we teamed. Miss Howard was a student when we teamed. So that counts sort of, but I mean, we've had that flexibility for a long time. I know I used to partner up a lot with Dan Terryberry, who was a math teacher, and we would do projects between math and science. John Laney came down from the high school every year to my 8th grade classroom. We did space science. Well, for the years we did space science before the state changed the curriculum. And Eric Ford actually came down and talked to him about chemistry, and we talked about acid rain, ozone, those type of things, and he could go over the formulas and just kind of work some chemical magic that the 8th grade teacher couldn't do. But it was a lot of that. He actually was beneficial, again, just like we talked about common assessments. When people below you in grade, when people above you in grades can come through and see what you're doing, it helps lock up that curriculum a little tighter so you can see what's actually being done. Because when you're an 8th grade teacher, except for me teaching right across the hall from Joe Bundas, who I could hear all the time when his door was open and mine was. Sometimes I could hear him when his was open and mine was shut. But I had a pretty good idea about what 7th grade was doing and what he was doing, but not what his counterpart was doing on the 2nd floor. So it's healthy, it's good to have those gaps filled in by just having that teacher. And Mr. McCarron, when he was superintendent, would actually give high school teachers or middle school teachers a day off, get a sub for you to go out and see what was being taught at the grade above you or the grade below you, which I found to be beneficial, not just for me to go out and see what was going on, but to have the feedback from those people. So that's, and getting back to why we did all that stuff and what the tenets of the STEAM project that I liked seeing was the fact that the kids could take, I know I did this when I taught slope of a riverbed in science. Mr. Terryberry and I switched our curriculum around, so he taught slope intercept as a math formula, y equals mx plus b. I just did rise over run, you multiply it by 100 to get a percentage of slope. We would make stream tables to show how flat that actually was. Can you see any slope on this? No. Put a drop, make sure it's on a level surface, put a drop of water on it, and you can see the water goes downhill. So they could see an application for the math. We used to, in the 8th grade, we did a big Civil War unit across all 4 classes, and that was a day of, if you didn't know what was going on, you'd walk in, you'd think it was chaos because kids just went around to different rooms and we talked about different things dealing with the Civil War and what we taught. So those projects have always been there. I don't think anybody wants to run away from those. It's a little harder to do. It's harder to coordinate, but some kids benefit from them greatly. Some kids benefit better from sitting in rows and just looking at PowerPoint presentation or listening to me ramble on. You know, it depends on their learning technique. And so you try and differentiate the instruction as much as you can. We still have that flexibility because, as I said in the email, Mrs. Gamble will there's flex time at the end of the day, and if the science and social studies teacher want to get together do a unit, I'm sure she's going to say, just give me the parameters and go ahead and do it, but they can still couple that time together. So it changes somewhat, but it doesn't change completely.
Any other questions for Mr. Wallace?
Okay, we need a food service bid the next meeting as well.
Okay.
That, I think Terry told you we asked for 3 bids, 2 came in, 1 declined. I just said, we're not going to bid this time, thanks for the opportunity.
What are the 3 companies that you asked?
Well, we asked anybody in the state that wanted to, and 3 indicated they were coming, pre-bid, and then out of the 3, 2 bid.
What were the names?
Our current earmark and Chartwell's.
Do we know what the surrounding districts and, because this Airmark's very big, aren't they?
Not everybody privatises, not everybody privatises either, right? So the process is we submit to the state which bid we like better based on their criteria, and the state approves it before you.
Oh,
It's all run by them.
All right, so items on the next agenda will be the building handbooks, and service contract.
Did you say that you was doing a report on next one?
She said she's supposed to be in.
All right, this brings us to our second public comment portion. If you'd like to make a comment, please approach the podium, state your name. We're limited to 3 minutes.
Bill Swift, Tecumseh, Michigan. I'm a little confused about what happened during the consent agenda. I see this item here, 2019-2020 board meeting schedule and board memberships that was actually moved, seconded, and approved, I believe, in the action items. And then there was a reference that was made by one of the members of the trustee of the board about a change in the date. So we're going to vote on this thing and we're going to make a change to the date. And there wasn't any discussion as to what the date was that was being changed. And so it was a little confusing to me. I I wasn't sure if that had something to do with the June 2019 monthly check registry or the minutes of the regular meeting for the June 24th, 2019 meeting. For the purposes of clarity, generally speaking, if we're going to talk about, hey, we're changing the date, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we say that out loud, and then people know what it is that you're doing. As a member of the community, I'd like to be able to come to these meetings and know exactly what it is that you guys are doing, and not have to wait until the minutes come out to try to figure out whether something's been approved or tabled or in the consent agenda or non-consent agenda, etc. We appreciate it if you guys could make that so that it's clear. The other thing I would like to address is your non-apology. I read the paper. I was shocked. I about fell out of my chair. It said, we were not prepared. And I said, holy smokes, maybe they've had an epiphany. And I read it. And I was like, oh, well, this is a complete fabrication here. This is we're sorry that people said things about what we were doing that was criticism. Not, we weren't prepared for the job. We didn't know what we were getting into because we were ignorant. It's okay to be ignorant. That's what learning is all about. It's about getting rid of the ignorance and filling it up with knowledge. I have to tell you, I'm just flabbergasted by how frequently we have these meetings, and there's things that are said, like somebody said, well, you know, people are saying false things about the board. That there are things that are written in the paper that are not true about the board. You guys dodge everything. I have yet to see you once take responsibility for one of your absolutely terrible decisions. You know, there's the guy we don't talk about anymore. I'm not going to mention his name. He was hired for a little while to be superintendent. And unlike Harry S. Truman, who some of the older folks here will actually remember, you know, maybe when he was president, the buck stops here. What does that mean? It means I take responsibility. It means I'm willing to acknowledge that I made a mistake. And then we move forward. Well, when that doesn't happen, when people who are in charge don't take responsibility for their actions, then it becomes incumbent upon people in the public to bring that to other people's attention.
Thank you, Bill. Time's up.
I got it, 3 minutes. Where's Chad? Oh, I don't see Chad. Oh my goodness.
Bill,
what's going to happen?
sit down.
Yeah, I got it. 3 minutes. All the people here are going to talk.
You can leave.
I'm not leaving him. Don't go anywhere.
Well, the cops are calling.
Call him.
This whole town is tired of BS. This whole town.
Okay.
Chairman Parks.
Okay.
It's enough.
True.
Is it? It's true. It's
Absolutely,
true.
it's true.
It's true. And like when you tell people that you're tired of their
Is there
bullshit,
anyone else?
I got it.
Is there
No.
anybody else?
Done.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
You can leave.
I'm not leaving.
Come on. Okay.
Does anybody else have anything to say?
Steve Oliver from Tecumseh, Michigan. I'd like to say I support the board and everything that they've done. Maybe everything hasn't been, maybe it should have been, according to some people. But I believe you've tried. I believe you tried to hear. I believe you acted on what you've heard. And I have no problem with what you've done. Some people do. Some people have their truth, I have mine. And that's all I've got to say.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
We're just moving to board comment discussion.
Yeah, I have a comment. A year ago, I was not even considering running for the Tecumseh Board of Education. However, when friends and neighbors suggested that my experience would be helpful to the board, I agreed to run. I must admit that in my 12 years of experience on 2 different school boards, I never have encountered what I've seen in the last 8 months on this board. I have sat up here meeting after meeting and listened to comments made that we are inexperienced, don't know what we are doing, and should resign. My grandchildren have called me from other districts concerned of the trash that's been put on the internet. Let's look at what we faced when we came on this board. The district was facing $1 million deficit. The superintendent decided she could not work with this board and resigned. Board meetings were once a month. The current board meets twice a month. The previous board was meeting with the superintendent individually before each meeting. We discovered that the district had an administrator working without proper certification, resulting in several $1,000s in fines. The district had several building maintenance issues that were not being addressed or planned, i.e. heating, cooling system, bells and alarms, school security systems. We had grievances by teachers union concerning teachers who were former district administrators being paid at a rate too high. The new board had to address the cheating that was taking place in the virtual academy during the old board's tenure. Action being initiated on offering a two-tier academic program without the knowledge of the board. The new board was informed that we do not have a proper number of special ed staff. District positions added without being budgeted for. The district IT department was in shambles. No one could tell us even how many Chrome pads the district had or needed. District computer system security was in disarray and not in compliance with regulations. Students could access inappropriate sites on school computers. District did not have service agreements and programs it had purchased. In spite of the constant criticism, this board has worked to deal with all of these issues and giving 100% effort to find a superintendent for the district who will work with the community staff and the board to move Tecumseh forward. I am proud to be a member of this board.
I have a comment. We did discuss the board proposed meeting schedule, and we changed the July 29th date to July 30th, so it would marry up with a workshop. That was discussed, and we voted on it. And at the end, I made the comment that we're voting on we're voting on the proposed meeting schedule with the time change, with the date change that was talked about earlier.
You don't have to explain it, everyone else in the room got it.
I know, everyone else heard it.
Anybody else?
Well, I'm not entirely sure I can top that, so I won't even try. But Greg, I did want to let you know, and our administrators, thank you. You guys are doing an amazing job. I love the plan that you came up with. I know it doesn't help everyone, but I know you said that you know what's right when no one's happy. But I'm thrilled. I think it's, I think it's a good compromise. I think it's heading us in the right direction and the positive direction we need to be. That's going to take care of the things that we were mostly concerned about that got us here in the first place.
Yeah.
I know I've seen Lexi's schedule for 10th grade. I'm thrilled with it. You guys have done amazing work with that. And as far as the core instruction time, I think that's great. I love that our staff and our admins came up with that, and it's wonderful. Same with the split schedule. Again, I know that's tough for some, but I really think it's important that our student athletes have that opportunity, and I thank you guys for really putting that together. You guys deserve all the applause, so.
Yes, let's do it.
I'll take a turn.
All right.
I'll second what Becky said. Greg is doing a great job being thrown into the fire there, and he hasn't burned up completely yet. So he's working with the administrators, and I think he's doing a great job. One thing I would like to address eventually with the board is our meetings. We had an initiative to get these recorded and then put out, published on our website. That sort of fell to the wayside. The former superintendent was our point man on it and was setting it all up and doing the groundwork on it. And we've kind of lost that in the shuffle. I think now that we're getting back to a point of stability, maybe we could look at how we were doing that. We could probably reduce the production of it, a little bit lower resolution. Important to get the voice out there. I ain't that much to look at, so I don't think everybody needs to see it clearly. We can go low resolution on that and get that initiative back underway. I'd like to see that.
Did you know anything about that?
We can support that.
So at some point we had requested it, and I know when we kind of started, but it was always like
It was a
snippets.
closed caption.
It's the ADA compliant issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
And YouTube does it, but it's not great when they do the closed captioning,
Okay.
depending on how good the audio is. So you really have to go through and kind of correct it for them if you've uploaded it.
Gotcha.
So it takes quite a bit of time, so.
Okay, that makes sense.
Do you have to do that?
Yes.
I don't know.
Do you have to have closed caption?
That was what we were told.
That's what we've been told.
By
I think it's
who?
something to check with our lawyers on, because the state board does it, and theirs isn't perfect either. So I don't think they've got anybody in the background.
Numerous boards are doing it, none of them have perfect closed captioning.
Right.
But I have noticed that the state board, when you watch theirs, their resolution's pretty low, keeping their file size down. I think there was an intent to keep ours a little bit higher. I don't think that was necessary. Really, it's the audio that's important, and, you know, a GoPro hanging on the wall over there, low resolution, would probably get the job done.
Something to think about. It's something the board was interested in doing before, just so that even though we love it when you guys are here, others that aren't can also enjoy it, and it's unedited, just here.
Particularly on meetings like this in the summer, where we have
Right.
a low head count, people are on vacation.
Right. Something to think about.
Catch up.
Absolutely. Could I make one more comment?
Yes.
I like the programming Greg and they put together, and like everything, I like to research stuff, so I started looking at the top 10 districts in the state, and many of them follow a very similar program, so I think we're on the way track.
I think so too.
Well, it has all elements in it. I mean, it's got the project-based learning, it's got the teaming, it's got core instruction, it's got everything together. So I think it's going to benefit all students, and that's what we're here for.
What, has anyone heard anything about that wit and wisdom?
I know there's a lot of parents that weren't really happy with it, but again, that's.
What did the teachers say?
Yeah, that'd be a good question for them. I mean, I really don't know that much about it. Again, I was here for 12 days of the actual school year when the kids were here, so I know the term B2L, wit and wisdom,
Yeah, and what
but
grades
I
are
really
you?
don't know what they do. I mean, I don't have any kids in the district, so I haven't been following.
I just have heard complaints about that, and I was just wondering if we could get some feedback.
That's elementary, isn't it?
I think so.
Yes.
I don't even know exactly what it's K through something.
We don't have any elementary administrators. Well, sort of, Tricia's, you're the 5'6", but can you speak to
I
it?
can speak to it. Kind of, sort of. So when looking at wit and wisdom, yeah, there are some that just do not like it at all, some that really love it. I taught it, I loved it. But this would be year 3 of implementation, and one thing that I've worked with the teachers is make it your own. Make it so that the kids are getting those core standards, but that it's not boring.
Right.
You're standing in front of them for what, 90 minutes, and we can speak to that. I mean, when we first got it, it was boring. I'll say it, I can be right? But I can say just this past year, being in the classrooms 4, 5, 6, they've truly made it their own. I have a 4th grade teacher who loved writing and really wanted to incorporate her writing. She's known for her skills with teaching writing. And just kind of tweaked it a little, but still used it because it's a really good basic, like, foundational, like,
Good place to start.
thank you. It's my summer break.
I understand.
So, yeah, I really like it, though.
Okay.
As long as, I give the teachers the freedom, though, to make it their own. And really base it on what do the kids need, but following those standards.
That's probably always important.
That's right.
Get your own. I like that.
Can I say a couple things? Okay, I'm not on the board, so I didn't ask. So, we've had another one of our meetings here where we have some frustration boiling over on both sides. Here's what's at stake. There is a major company right now is considering Tecumseh or Mattawan for a position to bring a lot of jobs and some growth to the communities. The deciding factor in that could very well be the education system for those people, for those employees' children. That's part one. We're not doing ourselves any favor by getting ourselves splashed on MLive and Facebook as we trade barbs at each other. It also doesn't help when you're trying to go out and recruit yourself a first-rate superintendent, which I've heard people from both sides say that's what they really want, it's what I really want, it's what we all really want. It's gonna be hard to attract a quality candidate when they could be here today and done at the end of the year, or a lot of people think that we're broke, that we're circling the drain. We aren't. Anything but. I mean, even if we dip into our fund equity, the full $500,000, if everything we look at that's going wrong could possibly go wrong, we're still going to have a higher fund equity balance at Ann Arbor Public Schools. So we're not circling the drain. We just need to give ourselves a chance. I mean, not criticize each other. I love the Bo Schembechler speech, the team, when he says we're not going to talk about each other, we're going to encourage each other. And that's what we have to do, because in the end, these are all our students. They're either your children or your grandchildren. That's probably why you're here. And that's what we're here for. That's what everybody goes to. I mean, people don't go to college to be a teacher and last for a career because they wanted the summers off, or because they thought it was something that would be just kind of fun to do, or I like kids. You find a niche and you make a career out of it. You need leadership from a superintendent. I appreciate all the kind words, but there's a whole lot more that goes with this job that I'm not giving the district because I can't. If I could, I would. Jacob, I can never say your last name the way you say it. Anastasov, sounds Russian. He stepped in for Stacy Bailey, and so far he's doing a bang-up job. Self-directed, very intelligent. He thinks, rethinks, and then overthinks himself. And that's a criticism and it's a strength. Because what I like about him and him in that position, he makes me think a little harder. And I told him, don't do that too much, Jake, because if thinking were easier, more people would do it. But he's the right person for the job. We have a lot of the right team members here, but we need a leader, and we need everybody's help to secure that person. So, again, going back to that survey that guy came in here, and even that he presented, and even before that, we all say we need a superintendent, a qualified superintendent. Give ourselves a chance to land one.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Donna's number one thing that she said was integrity and trust. Without those two things, you can't secure it. Somebody is going to come in here who doesn't trust these people.